Okay, so let's take a look at how you can work with Beekeeper Studio. So basically this is SQL editor and database management tool. So it is open source and free to download. So if you are on Windows, you can simply go to download for Windows, and here you see there are two editions, one being the premium, another being open source. The premium one is suitable if you have multiple team members for database management. So currently we don't need this ultimate edition, we will go with community edition. And there are also two types in here, one being installer, second being portable, right? So let's go with portable if you want, or you can go with installer. So it will just install in a second and creates one icon on your desktop. So I have downloaded it and let's run it. As you can see, the moment we click on this icon, it will load the view, right? So let me just get it within right frame, right? Okay, now here you see new connection. So within connection type you have options like MySQL, MariaDB, Postgres, SQLite, SQL Server, Amazon Redshift, and CockroachDB. Right now I have one of the database file, and for that I'm going to choose SQLite, right? So here you see it wants me to choose a file. So let's go to desktop, choose this essential SQL, and I'm going to select that. I can also test it, and if it says connection looks good, that means I can run this file. I can save this connection with name something like essentials SQL, right? And I can also give it a color to identify. So if it's for test, I'm going to choose this slightly yellowish and click save, and here you see the saved one gets listed here, and I can now go on and connect it, and it will open that particular connection view. Inside your database, which is in my case essential SQL, you can see there are tables which you can see under entity. If you want to refresh that, you can click on here, right? Similarly, you have this plus icon for creating a new table, right? On right hand side you have query, which you can go through, can open multiple if you want, and close them as well. So basically those are tabs, and at the top you can see file menu, edit for basic operation, then view for zoom, theme, and menu style. So within file you also have disconnect. If you want to get out of this interface, you can click this and exit to completely exit out of program, right? Now coming back to the database, there is also one left hand sidebar where you see database view, then this is saved queries view, and then history view, right? So let's go back to database view. At the top you will see the location where your .db file exists. Then there is also filter to filter through your entities. If there are any let's say 3040, you will have to use filter to go through that, right? Now if we expand on our entities, here you can see this is pretty much our columns: ID, name, contact, address, city, right? So why not go ahead and let's say run the query, select all from, let's go with first table, so customer. So it gives us this from autocomplete, right? Now if we run this, you can see the results within the bottom. Currently, as you can see, it only has 5 entries within this table, but you get all those columns out of them, right? At the same time, if you want to run a new query, you can do so from same query window. Let's go with employees and then run. Here you see also 4 results within employees table. Now here you see there's option for save, and there is also option for run. So run current is when you have multiple lines and you want to run the current line where your cursor is, so you use that. Now as you can see at the bottom, you will see the list of your databases. Currently we have only one connection, so it will point to that database file, right? Then you also have here options that are specific to that table, where you see 4 records within this table and within how much time the query managed to run and how many rows are affected. Now at the bottom you also have this download option. So what it will do is it will export to CSV, Excel, JSON file, and also copy to clipboard. So if I want to export this, what I can do, let's go with, let's say JSON, go for desktop and let's say emp.json. Now that we have that file downloaded, as you can see, it by default loads through Visual Studio Code. So open with code and let's see if this matches for JSON data. Also one more thing we can do is we will export to CSV and see if it opens through Excel. So this is my Visual Studio. It will take time because I have multiple extensions. Okay, so this is my employee.json file. As you can see, it has this JSON data in it, right? So now that we have seen JSON data, next we can export and check whether it can does for Excel or CSV. So let's go with Excel and let's see if it says query save. And now that it is saved, we can double click and open the file. It should open the Excel, and here you see your data, which is in JSON form, and it has downloaded that out. Notice that null remains constant in both SQL and Excel as well. So we have seen how to export to this Excel and JSON. We can also do the CSV, which would be easy to open with Excel, right? Now you have also seen how to run the query. You can also take a look at option for manipulating your columns. You can double click on them and you can choose to view data or structure. So here you see, here you can manipulate them. So for that you don't have to double click, but right click and view data and view structure, right? There is also export option, right? So here you see the type, whether it is allowing null or not. So here you see with, in case of employee, you have address field which was null, right? So it's allowed, right? And then there is also index, relations, and triggers options. So with columns you can also add new by clicking on this plus button, right? And you can also get rid of it by clicking this close, right? And you can also refresh that, and the results will be appended after that, right? And then those results will be stored in this particular essential SQL.db file, right? So when it comes to manipulating table, you get options with view structure. You also get view data, right, where you can manually edit as well, right? And also at the bottom you can add new entry, which will be shown here, and you can right click and delete row. You can right click and copy cells or clone cells, clone row, and set some of the columns to null as well, right? And also get the option to search through your table, right? So this is basically for SQLite database, and that too through this .db file, which is for SQLite, right? So you can connect to other databases like PostgreSQL, MS SQL Server, or MariaDB and MySQL. All of that is possible through Beekeeper Studio.